morning, San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm wearing bright green so you wouldn't miss me today no matter where I am. But isn't it wonderful to see you all here in person and joining us via the internet on a beautiful, cool morning for a change. Thank you for coming out and supporting our church today. I'm going to give you a few brief announcements, if you don't mind, before we get into our service. You know, we have some special things coming up. And after the service today, Clara is holding an orientation. So if you have any interest in learning more about what UU is, our history, this is not necessarily meaning that you must join, but it's a great way to explore what our faith is all about, or revisit it, get your memory going again about it. First ever in Georgetown is the Georgetown Pride event. Please note it's on October 26th. It's a Thursday evening. So it's a big deal that the LGBT community has organized a Pride event. And that's in conjunction with Southwestern University that's going to have a lecture that evening, followed by fun events near the library. So I hope you'll make an effort to show that we are in allyship with our LGBTQ community. Toiletries, we're still collecting for the homeless. Early voting starts October 23rd. I hope that you notice that some of us are wearing these bright green shirts. Ask us after the end of the service what they're about. And then October 31st is a special event, a fun event here at church instead of a service. Do read your messenger for some of that information. Is there anything else we needed to highlight immediately? We'll go over these at the end. So with that, let us begin. Oh, ring the bell.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for ringing the bell. This is the first time I've done this, and I was really worried about that part. Good morning and welcome. If you're participating here live or online, we are glad you joined us at San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Jeff Nobles, and my pronouns are he and him. Angie and I, my wife and my partner Angie, who's sitting much closer to the front than we usually do, we began coming here, I think, late spring or early summer, just a few months ago. We both grew up as Southern Baptists, and we, let's hear it from the Baptists. We actually met in college working for a Southern Baptist program in the inner city of New York City, where we worked with children who mostly were from Puerto Rican and Dominican families. And that was when the Southern Baptist Church had a liberal wing, so you know that was a long time ago. We came here from Houston 2 years ago. In Houston, for most of our time there, we were members of a Baptist fellowship that was known as Covenant Church, an ecumenical, liberal Baptist congregation. And that's a mouthful, but I think it describes, I can't speak for Angie's faith, she can do that for herself, but I think it describes my faith, which has been ecumenical, liberal, and focused on social justice for my entire adult life. So I'm happy to be a member of this fellowship. And actually, we haven't joined, but I'm very happy to be here with you all, and I feel as though I'm a member of this fellowship. I serve with 7 other members of our congregation on the social justice team of our fellowship. We recognize in this fellowship that we are situated on the land of the Tonkawa. San Gabriel is a congregation that welcomes all, promotes personal and spiritual growth, and works for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. For this Sunday, we are focusing our attention on the challenges of living out the values of compassion and justice that stand at the heart of our faith tradition. There's been no more important time for us to stand for that than there is right now. One of these challenges is our spiritual calling to care for our unsheltered neighbors. Those among us in terms of adequate housing, food, clothing, and employment are our focus today. We remember today that all of the great world religions teach the importance of loving our neighbors and especially those in need among us. Christianity rests on the belief that devotion to God necessitates caring for the sick, the poor, the imprisoned, and the oppressed. Buddhism teaches that love of humanity is the highest form of righteousness. Islam requires a tithe of 1/10 of income to be given to those in need, and the Jewish faith urges its followers to assist the poor and practice charity. We light this chalice this morning to celebrate what unites us as Unitarian Universalists. We are a community of faith with open minds. We are a community of faith with loving hearts. We are a community of faith with helping hands. It is in this light that we gather here today. The congregation has shared affirmation that unites us in a common mission and purpose. I invite you to join us in reading this affirmation together. The doctrine of this church is love. The quest of truth is its prayer, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Lou points out that I skipped the song. The opening song is hymn number 361. Please join with the music and sing along with us this morning. Thank you. Lou, you're a good coach. Thank you. I've seen this Wonder Box, and I wonder if there's any children here that want to come forward. Children in age or in spirit are welcome. We know that many things in this life, in this world, are unknowable beyond our human understanding. but what's inside, but we don't know what's inside the Wonder Box. Let's see. Do you hear it? What? It's always possible, I think. Has that ever happened? That's a good one. I may eat it if there is. Maybe it's money? No? Let's see. Thanks for your guesses, but I think you were all good guessers, but not knowledgeable. Let's take a look and see. It's a crown. Oh, well, thank you. What does that make you think of, this crown? Here he is, Prince Lou. Let's see what our story has to say.
The Queen on Our Corner, written by Lucy Christopher, illustrated by Nia Tudor, published by Lantana Publishing. I've been trying to tell Ma about the Queen on our corner. She's right there at the end of our road, in that plot of land they never got built on. She's sitting with her royal hound. I didn't notice her before either. Like everyone else, I just walked by. Ma was scared of her at first, but the Queen on our corner is just tired from all the battles she has fought and won, and the ones she has fought and lost, too. Maybe she journeyed up all the great rivers of the world to arrive exactly here. I think the Queen on our corner even fought dragons, swaying and slaying on mountaintops, while the rest of the world slept. She journeyed all over to all the hidden spots in the countries far away. Our Queen has had more adventures than anyone. But nobody around here knows this. Perhaps they can't see that she really is a queen at all, like Ma couldn't once either. People around here say the Queen should leave, but our Queen doesn't know where her palace is anymore. It's easy to lose a palace, that's what I say to Ma. Easier than you might think. So Ma and me stop and give her gifts like you would do with queens. Tea and toast for our wise woman of worlds. Crumbs for the royal hound. She smiles and it's brilliant, even though she has lost some teeth in battle. Sometimes she tells us stories about other corners, ones in the deepest, darkest forests, ones that are shiny and golden and full of light, and ones in cities that hum with noise. At night, the Queen on our corner and her royal hound protect our street, keeping watch for danger. I know because I've seen them. And danger does come one hot, dry night. When the wind is high, flames start from a forgotten match. The fire spreads to the shop and edges closer. The Queen and her royal hound shout and howl to wake all of us up. Soon everyone is outside, standing and shouting, carrying buckets and hoses. People are grabbing their precious things and taking their cats. Then the fire trucks come. They douse the flames and say it could have been worse. People agree and shake their heads and turn for their houses. But now it's my turn to shout. I tell the people that our Queen saw the fire coming and warned us just in time. She saved our homes. The people on the street stop and look, and then they see her. They thank the Queen, finally. They give her water and blankets, but I know that what she wants best is her own palace. So we build her one, right there on the corner. Nobody walks by anymore. Instead, we thank the Queen on our corner and listen to her stories. These days, the Queen makes tea for Ma and me and even the royal hound. Ma and the Queen keep watch over the whole street and laugh together like parrots, while the royal hound and me eat the leftovers. Though she still fights the odd battle. See that dragon tail in the street? And the sword in the sink? Dear reader, my inspiration for this story came from several places. A friend's story about a soldier living rough, a hairdresser who spent weekends voluntarily cutting hair for the homeless, and a musician who wanted to play me his saxophone, but had to sell it to survive. Soon, I started to notice the kings and queens all around my town, tucked into doorways or perched in corners of car parks. They got me thinking, who might these people be if they had a bed, a haircut, a saxophone? Could I help them find out? The answer to this question is a life's work, but as often as I can, I try to be like the child in my story. I look for the value in everyone who shares our streets. I look for the queens. You can look too. Lucy. The end.
Wow. It is a fact that 18% of our nation's population is homeless. At San Gabriel, we want to help address that problem. That's why we keep our little free pantry outside stocked with food. And that's why we have invited folks today to teach us more about how we can address homelessness in Georgetown. Let's keep thinking of how we can help others and be a good neighbor, like creating toiletry kits. And that's even more fun when you're wearing a crown, so come make one. I think that the equipment for making a crown is in the back. We take an offering each week to sustain this space that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. As the ushers collect the offering, please know how grateful San Gabriel is to you for giving your time, your talents, and your financial support. The offertory music today is a video of the song Tomorrow. It was recorded by Pete Geiger and Judy Mayo for a virtual service in 2020. The offering will now be gratefully received, and thank you.
So while you're watching the video and seeing the quotes, today is a Share the Plate Sunday. Any loose offering will go to help the unsheltered neighbors. There are envelopes on your chairs if you'd like to insert anything there. You can always do so later. Thank you.
Every week when we gather, we share pieces of our lives with each other. We share our sorrows so that we may offer comfort to one another, and we share our joys so that we can celebrate together. And I invite you to share your joys and sorrows now if you have any to share. I'll bring a mic around to you.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Smith. Yesterday, that eclipse, that was really something. That was also my younger son's 14th birthday. So, we can't miss that. So we went south, we saw the entire ring, because we got south of New Braunfels. And then we hit the Lego store on the way back. And I couldn't find enough pieces to make a Mr. Rogers, but I think with a little bit of a paint job, I'll have a Mr. McFeely.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else?
Oh, my heart is heavy what's going on in the Middle East. It's a huge, complex situation that's been going on for decades, and I think we understand both sides of the issue. So let us continue to pray for peace, and if we can be peacemakers some way, even in our own communities.
Amen. Thank you.
With all that Michelle said, all the negative news is so heavy, I have a joy. This morning I got a text from my daughter who lives in Houston. It was a picture of her bunny. It was a video. And Bubbles, the rescue bunny, was happily nibbling on rose petals in the living room with this delightful classical music in the background. I was jubilant. I was copying the video, sending it to my two sisters because I wanted to spread some joy. And then when I texted back to Brahman, my daughter, I said, "This is fabulous, thank you so much. And what about that music?" She said, "Oh, that's from my playlist, the classical music for pets."
That's great. Hey, John.
Hi, my name's John, and some of you might have known I've been on a vacation for a few weeks, but I left this place that was really dry and had 1,100,000 plus days, and it seemed like the water was never going to come back. And when I came back, everything was nice and green, and it's like it all returned somehow. So I went on a journey from one place to another, and I'm happy that I did.
Welcome back. Anyone else? Thank you all. This is an introduction to a breathing meditation, and Angie would be much better at this than I am. When we take time to consciously breathe in and out, we become refreshed, we recover ourselves, and we encounter the holy that is around us in the present moment. Let's take a few minutes to recenter with a breathing meditation. We'll have a few moments of silence followed by music played by Joe and Jackie, followed by our singing. Words will be projected.
I find myself wondering at times, Sunday mornings particularly, when we prepare to come to this place, if anyone comes here with any hope of ever getting in touch with the holy, however fleeting we might hope that would be, I sometimes wonder. One of the characteristics of every great religious figure in history has been their ability to inspire some sense of the holy, some awareness of something beyond that point us to the highest values among humanity that somehow lead us towards compassion and justice and peace. Of course, Moses was that inspirational figure for the people of Israel. Mohammed was that figure for the people of Islam. And Jesus was that inspirational figure for Christians. Jesus, for at least the Christian community, revealed something, they said, of the transcendent God. So this morning I want to invite you to listen just to a brief piece of scripture from the Matthew's Gospel, which Jesus offers an analogy of a king asking for devotion in the name of God. You probably have heard this before. I'm not going to read the whole piece. I'm just going to read you this conclusion. And the conclusion is Jesus is talking about the awareness of the holy. And the question is, for him, when you see human need, you're going to be in the presence of the holy. And the king personalizes this. And at the end of the story, the people say, Lord, when will we ever see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? And the king replies, I tell you the truth, whenever you did not do this for the least of these, you did not do it for me. One of the difficult challenges I've had over 40 years serving as a minister has been the struggle to talk about the holy or to talk about God in any meaningful, intelligent way that other people might understand and appreciate. It's hard. I know it's not only true for me, but for other people as well. I still remember hearing Barbara Brown Taylor, a well-known and respected Episcopal priest in Georgia, tell a group of us clergy one day, her observation was human beings on the whole have great difficulty at times talking about things that are holy or transcendent or beyond ourselves. And she said, somebody asks you why you believe in the idea of the holy or how your life is different because you do, and there are rarely words big enough, true enough, right enough to explain your awareness of that reality that we might call God. And she says most of us kind of rummage around trying to find the words, the right words, and we do it awkwardly sometimes, and we try not to be pious about it or vague about our beliefs. But she says it's a struggle. How do you talk about the holy? About the best way that I think many of us ever try to speak about something beyond ourselves, something in the transcendent world, something that's luminous for us is when we maybe venture to talk about how we think life for us is filled with gratitude for an endless parade of blessings that we've had. Or sometimes we can try to talk about this mysterious presence of the other that kind of shows up unexpectedly, sometimes in our lives and sometimes in nature. But it seems to me that the great religious figures of history had the ability to convey to others their awareness of the holy in ways that connected people to some higher sense of value, some better way of living. The stories that Jesus told to his followers, like this little ending I shared with you this morning, I stirred them enough to say, yeah, this guy put us into touch with God. But Jesus, I hope you notice, doesn't speak about God in those rational, descriptive ways that everybody who likes things on a bumper sticker or clear definition can grasp. Jesus told stories. The way you experience God, Jesus most often said, is in the relationships. And particularly in relationships when people, as he framed it, saw something of themselves in other people and could appreciate the sense of being at times lost or afraid. You know some of the stories. Jesus talked about the lost sheep. The farmer who had 100, but one drifted away, and Jesus said he left the 99 and went and looked for that one lost one. Or someone who lost a coin in the house and really searched hard for it because that one coin evidently meant that much. Or, of course, the famous story is the loss of the prodigal son that the father welcomed home. Maybe that's the closest we can ever come to the holy. I believe Jesus saying in this particular story, when we're surrounded by human need, people who are hurting, people who are afraid, people like us who are not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, and we have some anxiety about it. As I listen to these stories again and again that Jesus told at least to his followers, not only did they remember that ability to put them in touch with the holy, but these encounters say something to us, I believe, about our own experience with God. And I think Jesus' point is correct. For me, at least, the closest I've ever come to sensing the holy and being in the presence of God is in relationship with other people whose hearts are broken or who are scared to death, who weren't sure how they're going to make it through the next day because they didn't have enough to eat or any place to sleep. I think this is one of the great truths, too, found in most of the world's religion. We discover the divine most readily and probably most profoundly when we, in the words of Jesus, are caring for the least among us. That's a hard thing to convince yourself of in this world today where there's so much chaos, so much conflict, and so many of us running so hard seeking the good life. But today we're asked to think for a moment on this particular Sunday, we call a Social Justice Sunday, about the experience of others in our community beyond just ourselves, but who may not be feeling as blessed as we come here feeling, who particularly are living on the streets, who don't have adequate shelter, who don't know where they might spend the night or where they can go to get out of the heat or the cold. We call them, of course, the homeless. But their lack of having dependable shelter is only often just a part of their need, their wants, their desires. More telling, perhaps, is the anxiety we feel when we are around the homeless, the street people, whatever you want to call them. Often we try, I think, sometimes just to ignore it. It's hard to look at human need in the face. And sometimes we even try to distance ourselves by thinking they're a problem or they're a nuisance or they otherwise mess up nice communities like Georgetown. But despite our fantasies about living in the most advanced and wealthiest nation on the face of this planet, we can't ignore the homeless. Jeff just told you, 18% of people in these United States of America today are among the unsheltered. 18%. If you ask people about the homeless in Georgetown, the response I get, well, we don't have a homeless problem here. We don't see them. Researchers tell us that roughly over 421,000 people are homeless in the United States last year. 128,000 of them were chronically homeless, meaning they didn't have a place to stay for over a year. The increase in the number of people without a place to live comes amid soaring housing costs, rising prices for food and transportation. And California has the largest number of these, but Texas is number 4. Despite what our civic leaders say, we're in a boom economy and everybody in Texas is doing better than anybody in other states. The truth is, America's got a shortage of housing, particularly affordable housing. So why are people homeless? Here's what researchers say. Most have fallen on hard times: job loss, depletion of savings or financial resources, chronic illness, excessive health care costs, the displacement of work or housing resources. Low pay, low skills, mental health issues, and lack of resources, all of these contribute to the problem. Yes, some have substance abuse problems. Yes, some have become so depressed they've given up. But the question still is, what needs to be done? The first step I'm going to suggest to you today begins with what Jesus said to his followers. The divine solution begins with us seeing ourselves in their place. For us to be able to see their need is our need. If Jesus was right, we might even find the holy in the midst of trying to respond to their need. We are going to sing a hymn. Michelle said, I found this little songbook back here stored away. We only have about 20 copies or so, but she managed to get this slide produced for one of this. It's number 10, come join our movement now. That seems to be the clarion call for today, to join a movement to try to make the world a better place than it is. Let's stand and see if we can sing this together.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment it represents for us. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I think we're having a chat session now.
So at this time, we're going to transition to our chat session, and I invite our guest speaker, Christina Bondesen, who is from First Presbyterian Church of Georgetown, and Clara Dugan, who sits on our social justice team, is going to kind of moderate this session. I hope you'll learn some stuff. You'll learn how we're all collaborating together, and we'll have an opportunity for you to ask questions as well.
Good morning. I'm Clara Dugan. I serve on the Social Justice Committee and on the Membership Committee, and I'm honored to talk with Christina today. Let me just start by letting her introduce herself and where church is, which is very close, and a little bit about her.
Good morning. My name is Christina Bondesen. I am the office manager at First Presbyterian Church here in Georgetown. We are located one block off the square at the corner of 7th and Church Street. I have been on staff there since 2007, and I have been a member of that church since 2004. I did not grow up Presbyterian. I have been part of several different faiths throughout my childhood. And my main focus as far as going to church is it's not about the sign on the outside of the building, it's about what's going on inside.
Thank you. And I must say our last song was the best fit I've seen for the service at hand. So let me just ask you, how did a Neighbors in Need ministry begin?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to get this out of the way because everybody is shocked. I am 52 years old. I have two 20-somethings, so, you know I don't look my age, and that's a good thing. I have good genes.
And wonderful hair.
Yes. Which I just got done yesterday. So the first thing that I want to share with y'all is two books that were very influential for me in my walk to where I am now. The first is by a man named Bob Goff called Love Does. This man is absolutely hilarious. He is wonderful. I have read several of his books. I recommend everything he's ever written. He also has his cell phone in the back of every book, and he does pick up calls. The second is from the gentleman Alan Graham, who started Community First in Austin, called Welcome Homeless. This also was very influential to me. So basically, as I said, I've been in the office since 2007. Prior to COVID-19, we probably had 3 to 5 regulars that would stop by every couple of months or so and ask for $10. And, we knew who they were, we gave them what we could and sent them on their way. There really wasn't very much interaction with them at all. COVID hit, like many of you. I sat at home for 15 solid months, working from home. And during that time, as we all remember, there was a lot of racial strife going on in our United States. God started to work on me during that time and sent me down a rabbit hole. And as part of that, I began to feel more open to what are my feelings about race? What are my feelings about people that are different from me? So God was beginning to work on me a little bit there. We then opened back up full-time June of 2021. As soon as the office opened back up, the floodgates opened. We started seeing multiple people in a day, people almost every week that we had never encountered before. And our Padre little blessing bag or a $10 HEB card, if we had them, was not doing the trick. So I went to my administrative committee. I said, look, we need more funding. We need something. I don't know what it is, but we need it. And the response from admin was, well, somebody from staff needs to go talk to the congregation because you're on the front lines and they need to hear it from you. And guess what? That somebody is you. So in October of 2021, I had a video that was shown to the congregation because I couldn't be there in person. And basically I said, this is what we're seeing and we need your help. And I don't know what that means, but come be a part of it. Within a couple of months, we had a Gifts from God to You pantry, food pantry, as well as $5,000 in donations. And that is all from my congregation, which is very, very generous. So that's how it began. Then, as these people started coming in, they became more of a nuisance because we can't get anything done. They're coming all the time. What are we supposed to do with them? And so the office staff, including myself, was like, we got to get them in, we got to get them out. We keep doing this, and we're trying to keep above the flood, treading water. And all of a sudden, God hit me upside the head and said, what are you doing? I'm bringing them to your office for a reason. And that completely flabbergasted me because I don't know anything about the homeless. I've never been homeless. I've never known anybody that was homeless. I come from a very middle-class background. I've never been in food scarcity. I don't know anything about these people. What am I supposed to do? The only response God gave me was, ask them their name. And that's what I did. So as they started coming in, I said, hi, I'm Christina. Who are you? They would tell me their name. I say, come into my office and talk to me for a while. And they did. And they began to open up and tell me their stories. And I began to see them as people and not nuisance. And that is when my heart truly began to open for this population, my sisters and brothers who are on the streets and are in help, need, that I can give them. This is why I'm supposed to be here. This is my purpose that God has brought me to this planet for. I believe that so passionately that I now have a tattoo. Because I am learning something that I never knew before. They talk about it in these books I've just shared with you. Every human is looking to be fully known and fully loved. From the moment that we set foot on this planet, we are trying to get back home. And it is in discovering what that home is and what that feels like that brings us all together.
Thank you. Tell us about a couple of those people's stories, if you would.
Sure. I will try to talk without crying. I will tell you, that book that was read during the children's moment is going to be in our library soon. I was brought to tears by that story because it very much rings true to me. There are several people, as soon as you begin to notice homeless in Georgetown, you see them everywhere. And when they get to know you, they wave back. We roll down the windows, hey, how's it going? I have one gentleman, he's been coming to me since the beginning. His name is John. He's usually wearing a baseball cap. He's missing at least 3 teeth. He has a really goofy grin, tall, lanky. You may have seen him flying down Austin Avenue on his bicycle at breakneck speeds. His hair really needs a haircut. He came from up north around Illinois. He was in an 18-year abusive relationship, decided to get out of that relationship, came south, and ended up in Georgetown, and this is his home now. He's been here for at least 5 years and has no plans to leave. I have Raymond Flores, who Michelle and Keith knew from the pit count. Raymond came to me in the last week of September of 2021 with another gentleman. He was really scrawny, nothing really to look at. I found out in getting to know him that he had been in prison 3 times for drug abuse, and he had been in a gang, not because he wanted to, but because he needed it to survive as he was a teenager on the streets of South Dallas. He and I are 2 months apart in age. And I found a very common bond with him, even though we came from very different backgrounds. He and I became very, very close. I was able to get him off of the streets. We attempted to do rehab on 4 different occasions. I am sorry to report that none of them worked. He is back now on the streets of Georgetown. He is currently doing meth, heroin, alcohol, marijuana. He has a warrant out for his arrest for a parking violation for $237 for not having a light on the front of his bicycle one night. Bicycle, yes, because that is considered a vehicle. He has another appointment with the jail in Waxahachie this next Wednesday. He is a very common story. Almost every single person that you will encounter does have a criminal history of some kind. If you are homeless for any length of time, you're going to be arrested, especially if you live in Georgetown, because there's nowhere you can be. So they get arrested a lot for criminal trespass. A lot of them have mental health issues that go unchecked. We have experienced people who are new to homelessness, who were doing fine until that paycheck didn't come and they got evicted from their apartments. Now they don't know what to do with themselves. The amount of services that we have in Williamson County are completely inadequate for the people's needs here. A lot of our civic leaders have the attitude of, take them to Austin. I've actually had someone from the Caring Place who works at the Caring Place, when asked the question, well, where do they go if? The answer was, well, the experts are in Austin, so we give them vouchers to travel to Austin to receive those services. Okay, but you didn't ask for a voucher back to Georgetown, did you? They're stuck there, so they're not gonna go because this is home. I have a lady named Zoila. Her full name is Zoila Reina, which in English means I am a queen. And she was born and bred in Georgetown. She grew up here. She knows a lot of people who have grown up here, went through the Georgetown ISD system. She is in her early 60s now and finding herself without a home. She's been couch surfing for a little while, but that never seems to last. She wears out her welcome and ends up back at the park on 8th Street. Those are just a very few of the many, many, many stories that I could tell you about the people that I've come to know in Georgetown.
Thank you. I just want to add that I live on the corner of Riverine Country Club, just over the river, and there's a patch of woods near my house. And I had a homeless person living in the woods there. And my first encounter was he came up the hill to ask if he could help put sod down at my house. And then things went from there. It was such a wonderful experience. I put a tap on my hose so that he could get water whenever he wanted. When I had leftover dinner, I texted him and said it was at the top of the hill. I had him give me money to save up for a car, and then we sold him our used car. He got a job at Home Depot. It was an incredible experience. And then when the weather started turning, I don't remember if it was too hot, I think, we found him a room to rent. And it was an incredibly enjoyable, I wish everybody could have a personal person they could sponsor, because it really does make a difference. He now works at the Goodwill in town, one of the Goodwills in town, and it's been really wonderful. Tell us how many people you serve now, and tell us what's available in the pantry there, which I have seen, by the way.
Yes, you're all welcome to come by during normal business hours if you want to see and check out our pantry. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to this congregation because you have given us money to help support that pantry. So thank you for that. Every little bit counts and helps. So we, on average, about 130 different individuals are served during the course of a year. Many, many of those individuals are repeat customers. So we have rules for the pantry. We have a small coffee bar. They can come and get a free cup of coffee once a day. When it's hot outside, a bottle of water once a day. They can come to get food, toiletries, and clothing about once a week. Most of them will come about once every 2 weeks. And then if we have them available, because we only have a certain amount of money dedicated for HEB gift cards, we give them a $20 HEB gift card. They can only qualify for that once every 3 months. The reason that we do that is we try to spread the love so that the same people aren't getting the cards all the time. And those are a very high commodity. Let me tell you, the grapevine is alive and well. When they find out we have them, they are standing at the door waiting. So they go very, very quickly. Some of the biggest things that we try to keep in our pantry on a regular basis are shelf-safe items, obviously, that can go without refrigeration for long periods of time. So we do tuna, canned chicken. Ramen noodle is very, very popular because all it requires is heated water. They love fruit cups. They absolutely adore pudding cups. Applesauce, they will eat right out of the bowl. We also do a lot of peanut butter and jelly, although we do not give out bread. And so, yes, we do crackers. But a lot of them will take the peanut butter and not the jelly just because they'll eat the peanut butter right out of the jar, and that's a good source of protein. So that they absolutely are thrilled when we get chocolate. So last week, everybody got to go trick-or-treating in the bag of chocolate because we don't want everyone to get 5 handfuls and we're gone in one day. But we normally keep those kind of items on the shelf all the time. Of course, then you have personal hygiene, toiletry items. We usually do travel size for everything because it's lightweight and they can put a lot of stuff in a backpack. So shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, bug spray is a big deal. Shaving cream, disposable razors are a high commodity, especially with the guys. A lot of those things. We also do take clothing. What I tell people when they say, oh, can I bring something for the clothing part of the pantry? My response to them is, if this is a piece of clothing that you think someone who has no air conditioning or no heat could wear on a given day, and it's in good condition, then absolutely I will take it. So when the weather started to dip below 80 degrees last week, we actually had several of our guys go, we're cold. I'm like, please, you haven't even gotten to fall yet. But they're already asking for long sleeve shirts and sweaters to be able to layer during the cool nights. So those are the basic things that we have. We also take things like belts, shoes that are really good for walking. Sleeping bags. Now that we're gearing up for the winter months, we are asking for more warm things. So like jackets, gloves, hand warmers. You can get hand warmers in bulk at Amazon. They are like an ice pack or a heat pack. You just shake them and they heat up. They will stay heated for 11 hours. And what we found, especially when we had the last big cold spell, was they use them as hand warmers in their gloves, but they also put them in their shoes and they keep their feet warm. So keep those kind of things in mind when you're looking to gather things.
Okay, we need to know exactly when you're open and what the procedure is to get from the outside to the inside, so we know the specifics of how to donate.
All right. So our office is open Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to noon and 1 to 4. We are closed during the lunch hour, and we have automatic door locks. So if you come at 11:59, it will be open. If you come at 12:01, it will be locked. And then on Friday, I'm there from 8:30 to noon. You are welcome to come at any time during any of those office hours. We will have at least one person, and maybe that person is me, who is there when we are open. In order to get to our office, many people try to come to the big entrance on 7th Street. Do not come there. That door is locked. During the week and normal office hours, the place to come is on Church Street. Our historic sanctuary is on the corner. To the right of that on Church Street is a small parking lot, and then our big playground, which is catty-corner to 600 degrees. You can come into that parking lot if you can find a space. There is a big sign on the side of the wall in green letters that says office, and the door is right there in the corner of the conjunction between the sanctuary and the rest of our building. If you come in that door, you'll be going straight into the office and you will find me. You can do the same as all of my lovely neighbors in need. I have several. One of them is Miguel, who you met at Pit Count. Every single time he comes in, he opens the door and goes, hello, is anyone there? You can do that too, and someone will come out of the woodwork. But yes, you are absolutely welcome to come anytime during regular business hours.
So that was a more important question than I realized. And so to me, it looks like the little back door of the church. So that's what you're going to want to look for. There's definitely a parking lot, so look for that as well. And I'm really glad that you do crackers, because that's the thing I like to contribute all the time. 4 rolls of crackers and 4 peanut butters. So tell us how you met Keith and Michelle through the Point in Time, which is what PIT is short for, Point in Time Count.
Tell the tech team to change the slide. Tell them to change the slide.
Oh, change the slide.
Okay, so, yes, it's a picture of y'all. So the pit count, or the point in time count, Keith and Michelle are both wearing the t-shirts that have that on there that we used this past year. So once a year, the federal government has given a specific day where everyone in the United States goes out and counts the homeless. So with all of the work that I had been doing in our church, my name is starting to get around, and I'm starting to get lots of phone calls from different people, and believe me, I am taking your names and numbers down because I will be talking to you later about other things. But I was introduced to Christelle, who is one of the leaders of the Wilco Homeless Coalition. She was told about me, came to visit me, and said, "Oh, you definitely need to be a part of the coalition." I said, "Oh, okay, I will do that." So I joined the coalition, which I believe Michelle is now a part of as well. It wasn't very long that when I came to the first Zoom meeting, oh, guess what? By the way, she knows so much about Georgetown, we're going to put you in charge of Georgetown. I was like, okay, because since I have the close relationship with Raymond actually took me out to the camps in May of 2022. I met a lot of the people where they live. I absolutely know where many of them are on a daily basis. I know where they stay. I know where they've been moved to. I know what camps have been knocked down this past week or whatever. I am very much in tune with what's going on. So because of that, it was a natural thing for me to be a part of the lead process in the pit count for Georgetown, because I could then say, these are where you're going to find people. One of the hindrances with the pit count is, one, we don't get to choose the date. The government chooses the date. That can work against us or it can work for us, depending on what the weather is like. The other stipulation for the pit count is that you have to be able to personally involve yourself talking to, or at least be able to personally observe a person experiencing homelessness on the night of the pit count, or they cannot be counted. So if you have bad weather and a lot of your guys have found shelter on a couch somewhere and they're not out, they don't get counted. So it does have some flaws. That being said, it is a very important thing. It is the first step in us trying to get a better handle on homelessness. So as a lead in Georgetown, Raymond and I were a team. We were the team leaders for one of the groups in Georgetown. When we went to all meet for orientation with all the other leaders and volunteers on the night of the pit count, I gave a very brief speech about how to approach them, understanding, that they are not dangerous. A lot of them, especially those that I know here in Georgetown, were very much aware that this was coming, because I told them, you better be out when I come looking for you. So during that time, it was a little bit unorganized. And not all of the teams had been solidified, because there were lots of volunteers that didn't show up, and then too many on one team, not enough on another. We were finally given our go-ahead to go out, and basically I said, well, Raymond and I are going to the woods. So the next thing I know, Michelle and Keith are like, we're going with you. I said, okay, so I had never met them, but they were wonderful, along with another gentleman named Dwight, who lives here in Georgetown. Our little team went out, and we went to several different camps and met some people. They got to meet several of the people that I already knew. The most impressive thing about Michelle was we went over near the park on 8th Street to Miguel's camp. And he had a gentleman there who, I cannot remember his name now, but he's an elderly gentleman. He doesn't come to my pantry, but he only speaks Spanish. And so Raymond speaks a little bit of Spanish, and Miguel speaks a little bit of Spanish, but they can muddle through. So they were trying to ask him some questions about the pit count, because it's on your phone, and you have to ask them questions, and they answer, and you put in the data. The next thing I see is Michelle is over there having a full-on conversation with this man in Spanish, and I'm like, oh, yes, we have the winner here. Well, I've got a good one. And so, yes, that was very impressive. I was very much impressed with her. We had a great time walking around, meeting the people, even though it was cold that night. We did have several of our guys show up, and I think we counted 15, which is, in Wilco Coalition's eyes, amazing. I mean, Okay, so I believe the total count, and this is why I say there are faults to the pit count, the total count for Williamson County at the last pit count was 96. That's for the entire county. I counted 15 with my one group here in downtown Georgetown. I can tell you that I know of at least 75 homeless in Georgetown. So when you take that into account with the entire county, you begin to understand how woefully inadequate our pit numbers are. And that is determined on how many volunteers we have, the knowledge that those volunteers have about where the homeless are that night, and being able to get the two set up together so they can be counted. So volunteers with the pit count are very, very needed.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up, and I thank you so much for coming. I wanted to ask you one more quick question. You also serve on the board of Helping Hands of Georgetown. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Change the slide.
Oh, and change the slide, please.
Thank you. Another one.
Another one. There we go. Oh, yay, and it's our favorite man. So this is the poster child for Helping Hands, the African-American gentleman. His name is Malcolm. Helping Hands has known him from the very beginning. I know him very well as well. Because I don't have enough to do in all of my duties, I am also on the board of Helping Hands of Georgetown. I'm sure that a lot of you have probably seen the food pantry van running around. They meet at the library Monday through Thursday between 3 and 4 o'clock to serve bagged lunches every single day. They also have several low-income areas in Georgetown that they then go to and hand out pantry bags to low-income families. In addition to that, because they do not serve food at the library on Friday or Saturday, they started up several years ago a Sunday meal. And so they have partnered with several congregations, my congregation is one of those, to take one Sunday every month and provide a hot meal at the library parking lot for people experiencing homelessness. So my church has the third Sunday of every month. We do 80 meals. We do them at our kitchen, we take them over and deliver them, and I kid you not, they're gone in about 15 minutes. This is the third Sunday of the month, so this afternoon my people will be doing their thing. I don't know what we're having this time, but it's always something good. We've had everything from pizza to hamburgers, chicken spaghetti, taco, it runs the gamut. They start serving at 4:30 at the parking lot, but it really goes quickly, so you need to be there by 4 if you want to see it go down. And then in closing, I just want to share this one little thing that I read about that I think really goes along with something that was said during the homily this morning. This is from a book that came from my previous pastor who recently left us. We're looking for a new pastor right now. This is called Change the World. The only way to begin to change the world, change yourself. Increase your compassion capacity for yourself and then others. Grow your generosity with both money, time, and words. Lose the unfocused anger. Make courage a habit. Ask for what you want and need. Give more love. When you change, so does your world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to not only say, Christina, I want to welcome everybody to have refreshments, and also, again, if anyone is interested in joining us for the orientation, it starts at 12, it goes no later than 1:30, and it'll be in the fellowship building across the parking lot. Thank you again, Christina.
Thank you, everybody. Read your messenger. Thank you so much. Great job. Good job. Good job. Very nice. picture. Clara.
What about these?
I hope people read them. It says put new offering or welcome table.
Okay.
I should have announced it, but I didn't.